And we're live. We're live. What's going on, Ohio Cannabis Report family? It's your guy, Gerald Moore Jr., back with another episode of some news. I figured I'd do a live on Trump saying he's going to reclassify marijuana. Obviously, there's been a lot of conversation around cannabis the last few years. Obviously, things have heated up as more states have legalized cannabis. And again, that is great, and it's progress, right? I believe any type of progress in this space is progress, and so it's tough, you know what I mean? Because obviously, folks that have been in the cannabis industry, on the legacy market, the gray market, the black market, people that have been, existing, we want full decriminalization and full declassification, right? Like it shouldn't be classified, right? Like we don't have tomatoes, onions, potatoes, any other herbs that are listed as Schedule 1, 2, or 3 drugs. And cannabis should be the same thing, right? People that really understand. And obviously, there's a lot of people that are against cannabis for various reasons, whether it's children, whether it's people against drug addiction, and all sorts of things. So there's just a lot of conversation. Obviously, there's people from the tobacco lobbying community, people from pharmaceutical industries that don't want to see cannabis, um, thrive because again, it will get into the pockets of the alcohol industry, the tobacco industry, and the pharmaceutical industry, and the healthcare industry, and the prison industry, the prison industrial complex. So there's a lot of reasons why different American communities or different industries are against cannabis, and different people, some church folks and such, right? People are afraid of, children being using cannabis. And again, I understand those worries, but also I believe that it is up to the adults, right? It is up to the institutions, it's up to the leaders in our communities to educate the broader community, one, so that kids can be better educated on, what cannabis is. Because if the adults aren't educated and the kids just see it in music videos, or they see people like myself, who's a former athlete, Division 1 athlete, influencer online, they see me and they think, oh, cannabis is cool, but they don't understand. Like I use cannabis for medicinal purposes, right? Like I deal with pain, right? Even though I'm young, I'm 35 years old. I played football at a very high level, which has caused my body to go through a lot of physical pain. I'm also from a very rough neighborhood growing up. You know what I mean? Starting off my life, and I was born into a sticky situation, I would say, being a child born out of wedlock to teenage parents in an urban community. So you have PTSD, you have poverty, low economic status. Thankfully, my dad and my stepmom were able to graduate college and get some good jobs. And move us to the middle class. But again, I still deal with a lot of those issues of, losing family members to death, dealing with grief. Recently lost my son. Me and my wife, we lost our son to a stillbirth, which obviously caused us a lot of pain, grief, and sorrow that we're still navigating till this day, even though it's almost been 4 years. So people consume cannabis for a lot of different reasons. And so I think it's best for us to educate instead of demonizing people that do consume, and children that may get access. But also parents have to be responsible, so that if you have edibles, that those edibles are in a child-proof container, and that those edibles are locked away and safe so children can't get them. Also know where your kids have access to. Don't leave your kids alone with your medicine. But also talk to your children about the medicine and why you take it, right? Um, I am very vocal with my kids and very open. Hey, dad has experienced some trauma and I've dealt with some things. And so cannabis helps me, where I don't like to use pain pills, Tylenol, ibuprofen, over the counter drugs, or, drugs from my doctor. I rarely go to the doctor, right? For anything. I go for my, usual checkups. But, um, for me, cannabis is it's a lifestyle, it's a way of life, it's part of my treatment, right? It's not the only thing that I use. I exercise on a regular basis, I stretch, I do yoga, talk therapy, I'm creative, I do art, I spend time with my family, I go for walks, I get outside in nature. So there's a lot of different ways. But cannabis is a part of that. Cannabis helps with lowering the inflammation in my ankles, right, from arthritis. So there's a lot of different reasons why people consume cannabis, and a lot of times people may not have the words. A lot of times people are consuming for medicinal purposes, but don't realize it. And so that's why we started this platform. I started this platform was really to create a space to have those conversations, share my personal story because that's all I really have, in hopes that other people would be willing to share their stories, to help end the stigma. Because our goal is to really end the stigma around cannabis, um, and those that consume the plant. Because again, people are doing these things for a reason, even if they don't understand all the time, right? Everybody may not always have the words, right? Everybody may not always have safe spaces that they feel vulnerable enough to share their stories to the public or to other people. And so a lot of us, coming out of COVID-19, people are dealing with pain, people are dealing with grief, people lost family members. We have to think about that. And so again, people are going to go to something, right? It's not always a substance. It could be alcohol, could be tobacco, could be sex, could be sports betting, can be gambling, going to the casino. Like, you could work out too much. You could be addicted to working out. You could be addicted to sex. You could be addicted to work. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different things. And so it's really the mental part. Like, check the mental, you know what I mean? And cannabis helps me like decipher and disseminate and discern my world. And so, to put a blanket cast over people and a plant when you don't really understand it. You don't really understand everybody that consumes it and why. And you're just saying, no, this is a bad thing. It makes people lazy. Like, no, like, we don't talk about people that drink a ton of sugar and Coca-Cola every day and tons of saturated fats, and they're lazy and they have jobs and they work, but they can't get up and move and run. I know way more athletic people that can smoke weed and outrun and out exercise and out focus so many people. And I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but that's my degree back there. I'm also a published author in this book, Courage in Cannabis. Shout out to Dr. Bridget Williams. This is the second version, Triumphant Stories. This book can be purchased on Amazon. I'll actually put the book in my bio on here. There's my bio. So again, if I was lazy, would I have written a book, a chapter in a book? Uh, so yeah, so I'm gonna get to this Donald Trump thing because I know that's what y'all are here for. And I'm gonna make this a quick one. Uh, so Trump says his administration is looking at reclassifying marijuana. Uh, So Monday, he confirmed his administration is considering reclassifying marijuana as a less dangerous drug. Trump told reporters that it was early in the process, but he hoped to make a decision on the matter within the coming weeks. We're looking to at reclassification, and we'll make a determination over the week, the next. I would say over the next few weeks, and that determination hopefully will be the right one. It's a very complicated subject, Trump said. He held a news conference in the White House briefing room. Trump was in the briefing room to announce the federal takeover of Washington's police force and deployment of the National Guard to deal, he said, with the city's crime and homelessness. He was asked at the news conference if reclassifying marijuana would send mixed messages, as his administration says it wants to clean up crime in the nation's capital and potentially other cities. The Wall Street Journal first reported that Trump was weighing rescheduling marijuana from a Schedule One drug to a Schedule Three drug. Again, me personally, I am for descheduling cannabis altogether. I don't believe it should be classified at all, because one, when cannabis is in its raw state, it can't harm you, right? Like, if you just have raw buds. Now, this is some old hemp. This is kind of just for a, you know, thing in my collection just to showcase hemp. But again, in its raw form, like not broken down, like not ground up, it's you can't do nothing to it, right? So again, you have to grind it up. It has to be dried. You have to grind it up, roll it up, or put it in a bowl and and light a fire to it to combust it, or put it in a vaporizer to, get the effects, or put it there. There's some type of chemical reaction, right, that has to occur for cannabis to have an impact. Obviously, if you have edibles, you can eat an edible and it's going to have that effect on you. So, again, that's why it's important that we take care of and educate folks on cannabis. But again, I'm for a complete declassification. So is Ohio Cannabis Report. So, just to put that out there. Obviously, Schedule 3 is better than Schedule 1. Classified as Schedule 1 drug, marijuana is listed alongside heroin and LSD as drugs with no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. Now, in Ohio, cannabis is used for medicinal use. You can get a medical card in Ohio. By contrast, Schedule 3 drugs are defined as those with moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence, including ketamine, anabolic steroids, and testosterone. So, again, I've been consuming cannabis for a long time. I mean, I can stop at any given time. Like, there's no, like withdrawals, I would say. I would say it makes me feel more at ease and more comfortable when I'm dealing with anxiety or depression or stress or a mental episode of that nature or a physical episode. But in terms of like, if I don't have it, right? Like my family, we go to Florida and Florida isn't legal or they just got legal. So we go for about a week and I usually don't have it. There's times where I just don't consume, where I have a tea break or whatever. Um, so again, I believe people do lean on it because does make them feel better. And it's a cheaper form of therapy, I would say, than, going to the gym. Um, is cost effective, right? Talk therapy can be expensive. I mean, a hour for, $100, if you don't have good insurance. So with $100, you could buy a good amount of weed. So, a lot of people are in different circumstances. So, I like to be somebody that understands that I do have privilege. I do have um, privilege in my life. So I try to understand that there are not everybody has the same access to everything that I have access to. During the final year of Biden's administration, the Drug Enforcement Administration said it supported recommending the reclassification of marijuana. Reclassifying marijuana would allow for more research into the drug and provide tax benefits to the cannabis industry. Trump on Monday said he's heard good and bad things regarding the drug. I've heard great things having to do with it, with the medical, and I've had bad things having to do with this about everything else. But medical and, for pain and various things, Trump said, some people like it, some people hate it, the president said. So, again, it's just like anything else, right? Some people are going to have some issues with it. Some people aren't going to like it. There are a lot of people that benefit from it. Um, I just think that more people have to get more vocal and share their perspectives on it because obviously with the federal government it being classified as a Schedule 1, obviously we have tons of college institutions, right, that we do a lot of research and development. So I'm in Columbus, Ohio, 10 minutes away from Ohio State University, which is a federal land grant institute that studies agriculture. Well, if cannabis is still federally illegal and classified as a Schedule 1 drug, Ohio State, which is this large land grant institution, which has thousands of acres of land, can't even do research on cannabis, which obviously is going to prohibit us from using it for medical purposes and just studying it. So I think that's, again, another point in why we have to have more conversations. We have to have more forward thinking politicians, researchers, and folks, advocating for the plant. And that's why, again, we created this platform to share some of that work. And the thing is, Ohio State is doing some work in this space. um, what is it? Drug enforcement. So they Ohio State has the drug enforcement and policy center. I'm going to share that with you guys. So this was an article. I'll share the article with you. Um, share another page. So this is an old article, but the Ohio State, this 2017, establishes the Drug Enforcement Policy Center with support from Charles Koch Foundation. The Ohio State University Morris College of Law announced today that it will establish a Drug Enforcement Policy Center, DEPC, with funding provided by the $4.5 million gift from Charles Koch Foundation. The DEPC will support and promote interdisciplinary research, scholarship, education, community outreach, and public engagement on the societal impacts surrounding legal reforms that prohibit or regulate the use of and distribution of traditionally illicit drugs. Robert J. Watkins, Procter and Gamble Professor of Drug of Law, Douglas A. Berman, will lead the center, which will draw on institutional expertise from the Morris College of Law, John Glenn College of Public Affairs, College of Social Work, and across the university to examine impact of modern drug laws, policies, and enforcement on personal freedoms. The Drug Enforcement and Policy Center will serve as an objective, reputable voice in the national conversation relating to drug laws and enforcement, said Morris College of Law Dean Alan C. Michaels. Doug is the perfect person to lead the interdisciplinary endeavor as we build on our strengths at the law school and the comprehensively across the Ohio State with research and outreach activities that will provide critical evidence to help inform policy decisions at the local, state, and national levels. The DEPC will foster collaboration among Ohio State's nationally recognized faculty in areas of criminal law, public affairs, legislative reform, community well-being, economic development, and social justice to explore how the war on drugs and other enforcement policies have affected Americans over the past half century and possibilities for reform and improvement. It will also serve as an independent and reliable source for researchers, policymakers, and the media, and others interested in objective information about drug enforcement and reform, including rigorous examination of ongoing efforts by many states to replace blanket marijuana prohibition with various legalization and regulatory systems and rules. I am honored to serve as the first executive director of the Drug Enforcement and Policy Center as we begin important work across the breadth of critical topics at a time when leaders of all political beliefs are looking for reliable and objective evidence concerning the impact of modern drug policies and practices, Berman said. Founded in 1980, the Charles Koch Foundation supports students and scholars exploring issues related to free and open societies, including criminal justice reform. With reform outpacing research in drug policy, Ohio State stands to fill an important gap in analysis of these issues, said Charles Koch Foundation Director of University Relations, John Harden. We are thankful for the opportunity to support Professor Berman and his vision for the new center. So yeah, that's going on at Ohio State. We've covered some of their work. Hopefully, we can have them at the Ohio Cannabis Town Hall again, September 6th, 3:30 at the Columbus Downtown Metropolitan Library. Make sure you guys go to ohiocannabislive.com/events to RSVP for that event. Again, this is a free event, but again, this is a labor of love. It's not free. Like, it's people like myself, Anthony Riley, who runs Ohio Cannabis Live, all of the advocates, lobbyists, and people, community advocates, cannabis consumers, patients, medical patients, who have been speaking up, who've been advocating, who've been doing the work. So again, this is not free work. It is definitely a labor of love and consistency through a steady group of people who have put themselves out there publicly. And so again, please support. Please come through, ask questions, donate if you can. We will have a resource table, hopefully, to spread as much information as possible. Also, be sure to subscribe to this channel. like, comment, and let me know what you guys think of the content and the different articles that we go over. I'll do. I was gonna pull that up, but it's not gonna come up right now. So again, that's 20 minutes. So we'll go ahead and log off. But again, I appreciate you guys for all the love and support over the time we've been running Ohio Cannabis Live. Again, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Also follow us on Instagram. I had to create a new Instagram. The old one is still up, but I've been logged out, so I've been trying to get back in. The new Instagram is Ohio_cannabis_report. So please follow that. We're starting from scratch again. So please follow us on Instagram so we can get back to our live on there. We're on Facebook, Ohio Cannabis Report. We're on TikTok. We're on Patreon, and we're on Substack. Please support us if you want to support us financially. We're not at a point on YouTube yet, but our Patreon, we are able to accept some support. And so a lot more content is going to go up on Patreon as well. That's going to be for the subscribers only. I'm going to do more subscriber only events. So if you want to be tapped into the work that we do, private events in Ohio and Columbus, please tap into our Patreon and our Substack where you can support us. Also, please support my nonprofit, Green Environmental Outreach. All of the work that I do is under that as well. So if you want a tax write-off and a donation, please support Green Environmental Outreach. We are a 501c3 nonprofit focused on urban revitalization, focused on all things green, environmental justice, social justice, and all things community. We are a veteran-founded organization, and so we are trying to do grassroots work to really support our communities, how they need to be supported and served. So thank you guys for all the love and support. Till next time, peace.